City is the biggest surprises in the Western Conference this year, but you factor in a bunch of different stuff. Number one, injuries. Brandon Clark, Jaren Jackson Jr. You factor in the schedule, the toughest post-All-Star break schedule in the entire NBA, and then the losing. They've lost 4 in a row now. Can the Memphis Grizzlies hang on?
I don't think so. I'm looking at the production from these guys, and you're talking about the subtraction of these individuals going out. When you talk about Clark, talk about Jackson, and you're trying to still have these guys perform at an amazing clip, and they don't have the bodies out there to help them get over the hump necessarily. And you don't have guys that's extremely battle-tested, on that roster. So your best player is your rookie. And I listen to sound bites because sound bites are important to listen to at the basketball games. And Ja Morant, he was just like, something has to change.
Yeah.
They're trying to find it, and they're struggling to find that. However, that he's going to compete at a high level. He's still going to bring it. But look, the 0-5, look, it's just tough, man. And the record and the schedule is not going to get easier. And you look at the Pelicans, I think they have a more favorable schedule down the stretch.
I also think the Pelicans have more guys who can dig you out of a hole, whether it's in a game or in a stretch of games. Memphis doesn't have somebody, and Ja's been fantastic. And Jaren Jackson, when healthy, is playing his tail off. They've got some pieces, but who's the guy that's going to dig you out of trouble if Ja doesn't do it?
Yeah, and
who can you turn to get you out of a tight spot?
And look how difficult this stretch is here. So let's obviously, everybody agrees here that the Pelicans look like, with the momentum, with the talent they have, with all that's against Memphis, it's all favoring New Orleans right now to get that 8th spot if you're just comparing these two teams. But let's go a little deeper in these two teams and talk about the individual players. You mentioned Ja Morant, who's having to carry the Grizzlies. It's not his fault. He's got all these injuries. It's not his fault. This schedule turns incredibly hard. But based on the fact that if their schedule is hard coming up, that means they've had a favorable schedule behind them. Does Zion now, should we consider just putting him in the conversation here for Rookie of the Year? Because isn't Rookie of the Year about who had the best season, who was the best rookie, who was the most dominant rookie? And if Zion could lead the Pelicans back into the playoffs, when he came back, they were, 6 games out, now 2 games? Shouldn't we consider that?
Absolutely. I think that he's a huge asset to this ball club and to the organization and to the NBA Association. However, when you look at to this point, Ja Morant done a remarkable job. But when Zion came back on the scene, it's a couple things that goes into his favor. One, they're very close to making the playoffs. He's box office. And his record since his debut, 9-6 right there. You look at the point total, you look at the field goal percentage for the team, and the blocks per game, and he's averaging roughly 22-6. So he's out there having a major impact on the game. And you look at Ja Morant, he's scoring the basketball, he's facilitating, and his demand is a little different, but Zion is moving the needle, man, in a major way.
He is, and I think when you talk about Rookie of the Year, listen, when you get the ballot, there's no instructions. It's just pick the rookie that qualifies in your mind as Rookie of the Year. There's nothing beyond that on the ballot. It's different, though, in my mind, than the MVP, right? The MVP, you're not voting for the most valuable rookie. You're voting for, in my mind, the best rookie. And
it's context, Jared, is what it is. It's the context.
But does the number of games they play matter? If Zion looks like the better rookie?
Yeah, I think it does matter when, if we're talking about separators, where you get, you start breaking these guys down and figuring out who checks off the box in each category. If there's something that's going to separate them, it's going to be that Ja Morant played at a high level for twice as much time, basically, as Zion did. But if Zion and the Pelicans get to the playoffs, to me, that evens it out.
Right.
And this is where it becomes really important to understand that Zion is working with a veteran coach in Alvin Gentry. He's working with Drew Holiday, who totes a leadership load that Zion doesn't have to of that team every night, whereas Ja Morant, let's just call it what it is. He's working with a rookie head coach in Taylor Jenkins, and he's working in a franchise where they rise and fall basically on Ja Morant's ability to play at that next level every night. Jaren Jackson hasn't been the guy that carries that burden for Morant the way that Drew Holiday and some of those other guys, Brandon Ingram, another all-star, have. in New Orleans. So there's just some context to me that has to be massaged when you have that argument.
I get all that, and I don't think anybody would debate any of that. My question is, and I get that this is totally subjective, should any of that matter when casting your vote?
I think it should go into context. Like, look, before Zion even came back, the trophy was already at Ja House in Memphis. He was just waiting to show it.
Right.
But now, when you look at it and you think about guys of the past, Brandon Roy, you think of Patrick Ewing only playing 50, and I think Zion to be at, 30, 32 games, something like that.
Once you factor in the back-to-backs, which he's not anticipated to play, and you're right, it'll be just about between 30 and 33 games.
Yeah, all right, so 37 if he plays, 32 or something like that, roughly. But if he averages 22 and 6, and think about it, the biggest stages, national televised games, going up against LeBron, holding his own, or coming out on top with a victory. I mean, man, you have a chance to really change the narrative of this conversation and realistically have a chance to win this award.
I just go back to this. I just don't think it's the same as MVP, right? It's a different type of mentality when you vote on this, because when I vote, I look at who was the best rookie. Different conversation than most valuable player, because then you're factoring in winning, impact on winning, where your team is in the standings, are you the best player in the league that year, all those different conversations.
Well, let me ask you a question, Jared. Would there be a limit? Would there be a certain number of games that Zion would have to be available for you to not deduct a point, basically, in your tabulation?
I totally understand that.
I'm just wondering.
I agree with you. I don't want to give one, because I think there's going to be a year, and this might be it. I haven't made up my mind yet. This might be the year where that number is totally different than what you might want to define as your number. So why set a number if it's going to be a big gray area in this conversation? Like, there may be a year when a guy plays 25 games. It sounds like a low number, but if he's putting up 30 points a game, he's the best rookie. Why shouldn't he win the award?
It may not be a year. It's happening right now in real time.
Absolutely.
He came in and he just threw a monkey wrench at everything that everybody was thinking.
Yep.
Like, he's having a major impact on the outcome of wins, and also he's box office. So he's must-watch television. If he continues at this rate right here, he may very well be the Rookie of the Year, or we may have co-Rookie of the Years.
Who do you got in Rookie of the Year?
Right now, today, I got Ja Morant. But if he continues to perform like this, I got Zion Williamson.
Yeah, I got Ja now, but it wasn't a race before Zion came back. I thought Ja had it clear. And now I'm watching this all the way down to the last game of the season. Because if Zion keeps it up, he's going to make a lot of people make some really difficult choices when they fill out that ballot.
Photo finish.
Yeah.
How are the Pelicans doing this? What is Alvin Gentry drawing up, and what type of skill set does Zion Williamson bring to the table night in and night out for the Pelicans? Let's find out. Behind